Good morning, everybody. I'm Chad Koulis, Executive Director of the Midway Chamber of Commerce. And our conversation today is going to be about marketing and tech 101. We're finding that a lot of these different tools are even more important right now during COVID time. We've had a presentation on social media. This is our second event that we've had geared around communications. So we've got one of our newer members who's going to be speaking in just a minute. But first, I wanted to turn it over, if you were at our event we had last week, our economic development meeting on recovery, you would have heard from Paul Ramser at Elpis Enterprises. And Paul is also going to be at the Creative Enterprise Zone event on October 6th that they're doing on what's this year's National Night Out. But we wanted to have Paul come back again just to talk a little bit more about the project with the chairs. So Paul, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chad. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to take a couple of seconds to talk about our organization, Elpis Enterprises. We're a nonprofit organization, a job training program for youth experiencing homelessness ages 16 to 23. We do that work in the context of a couple of social enterprises. One is a full-service imprint business. We do custom screen printing and embroidery, branded items, t-shirts and hoodies and polos. We also operate a small manufacturing operation. We recycle cedar fencing, and we manufacture a line of outdoor products, mostly bird feeders and nesting boxes, that we do through a series of events of experiential building workshops. That has been drastically impacted by COVID, and so we have pivoted to a new product that we are working with the Green Chair Project to make cedar Adirondack chairs. And for every 2 chairs that we sell, we donate a chair to a youth program that's been affected by COVID-19 or been affected by the community unrest in St. Paul and Minneapolis. And these chairs are built on site with that youth program as part of a workshop. We are interested in talking to businesses who might want to sponsor chairs or who might want to purchase chairs for their business in support of the program and support of the community. We will be at the Creative Enterprise Zone. We'll be under a tent. We'll have a couple of chairs with us. We'll have some of the material about the project. So if you are in the neighborhood on Tuesday the 6th, I think between 4 and 7 in the old US Bank parking lot, please stop by and say hello and see the products and talk to some folks involved in the program. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Paul. So our speakers today are from one of our newer chamber members, MANYC, and I'll remind everybody again, like we always do, if you have a question, put it in the chat and we're gonna get to as many of them as we can. And the first person that's going to present, Johnny Zhang, is the marketing director for MANYC. And a quick intro on Johnny. After earning his bachelor's in marketing from Minnesota State University, Mankato, he entered the digital marketing world by acting as an internal marketing consultant in identifying growth strategies for a $5 million e-commerce and retail segment. In his prior role before MANYC, he implemented a brand new CRM system for over 130 users and marketing automation. Currently, as MANYC's marketing director, he oversees the digital strategy for their clients. This includes a variety of strategies and mediums for lead generation to conversion. Johnny.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that, Chad. I appreciate it. Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to, come to this webinar and hear a little bit about what MANYC has to say about marketing and tech 101. So we're going to go ahead and just share the screen a little bit so Yi will be able to just share some of the slides.
Hey, Chad, can you allow screen sharing? I think it's under security.
Security.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Let's see here. There we go. Okay.
Perfect. All right. All right.
Go ahead, Johnny. I'm trying to
present. Yeah.
Slideshow.
present.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so we got the marketing tech and 101. I just want to make sure everyone's in the right room. So you know exactly why you're here to be able to just learn a little bit about marketing, a little bit about tech. But one of the main things I want to start off with is why. So why are you here to learn about it? And especially during this time, there's a lot of difficulties and changes to how businesses are being ran, right? A lot of individuals who were dependent on in-person contact or in-store visitors now have to look at different avenues. You can go to the next slide. And so just a quick introduction, introduce myself a little bit, and we have Yi here too, the CEO and founder of MANYC. But exactly what Chad has said. So my experience primarily is focused on the digital marketing side, anything from web to paid strategies online to SEO, so optimizing your website. That's what I help a lot of our clients over here at MANYC. So just a quick intro about MANYC. We offer innovative and personalized solutions for each in business, each in your own business. So it starts anywhere from all the way from the beginning of branding to the end of how we can help you automate some of their marketing processes to make it more fluent, to help you continue to keep churning through the clients and upselling and be able to continue to grow revenue. This is the technical jargon that we have on our website, but for me it comes down to we want to be able to help solve big problems that our customers are having through innovative strategies and technologies. Okay, so yeah, digital marketing 101. Let's go to the next slide. So what is digital marketing? I'm going to just quickly cover that. I think a lot of you may know about it, but there's some nice things in history to really learn about and understand. Go to the next one. And then from here, how do you build on it? So this is one thing we're going to be covering too. So now you learn digital marketing. How do you build it? How do you even start it for some of you that haven't even looked into it, delve into it? So the next. So marketing in general, let's just take out the word digital, right? And let's just talk about marketing. And I think many of you know this, but the marketing is really just about connecting, right? It's about being able to connect with their audiences at the right place at the right time. So that means you need to be where they're at. And you can go back. And in 2020, that means that you need to be on the internet, right? That's where all of a majority of customers are on. I know everybody's probably, I think over 90% of the individuals have smartphones, and so or just some sort of phone and are using it. And that's where digital marketing comes in. Go next. So with digital marketing, we have this individual, Guillermo Marconi. So he is back in the late 1800s, actually. He was the first human to transmit wireless signals. And so that basically means he invented the radio, right? Eventually, as time went on, he did the Morse signal, and it would take about another 10 to 15 years for radio to really be out in the eyes of the public. And even early on, the creators of the radio knew that they can use this product to sell things. And that's where actually digital marketing was built. So digital marketing has been around for many years, and it's just that the different mediums and avenues or channels have changed. Go next. So digital marketing, I have this quote from Neil Patel. For those of you that don't know, Neil Patel is a industry leader in the SEO industry. So if you're looking to get started on SEO or how to do simple things on Google advertisements, I would recommend you look him up too. But his definition of digital marketing is that it's any form of marketing or products that involves electronic device. So right, something like a radio, it's been around for years, and that's really what sparked everything. And so before I talk a little bit more about strategy, everyone knows this scientist. I want to talk about, now we learn digital marketing, what's next to it, right? We have the actual marketers. And I like to, as marketers myself, we like to think ourselves as somewhat of a scientist, right? Everything, it's about experimenting. So if you hear that a marketer is out there that can guarantee you X, Y, and Z. They're probably kind of fooling themselves and you. You know, everything we try out to do is based off of an assumption, a hypothesis, right? So, okay, we have this experience and we're assuming this is what's going to happen. And then we experiment with it, right? And I want to say 90% of the time, that's what we're doing. So as marketers, we're experimenting. We're trying to find out what's working for your customers and what's going to click. And then from there, that's when we find out what channel works and we stick with it. So I have a slight confession to make. Digital marketing or just advertisement online, the simple the task of actually creating ads and putting it out there is really simple, and I think everyone can do it. The only difference between a marketer and somebody who's maybe a small business owner who has to wear multiple hats, or somebody who's new to the game, is that they don't have bags of tricks, right? For me, I have experience in this. I've worked with multiple clients. And so when certain channels aren't working, certain mediums, I know what trick to pull out of my bag and just to implement and try to use. But at the end of the day, I think I'm very confident that everyone can learn digital marketing and can, at least at the beginning, implement it on your own to scale and grow your business. And so come the next graph, and now this is where I want to go into something a little bit more tangible and be able to show you what are some of the steps, right? So this graph is a little overwhelming, but I want you to just take a look at the colors. So in the top left, we have social media marketing. That is one of the big strategy for marketing. And then within that strategy, there's certain specific tactics or things that we can actually do. Just to give you the premise of the graph, if you take a look at everything, it all boils down to the center point. And the center point is a landing page. And so what that means is that if you don't have a website or you don't have some sort of a digital footprint where customers can come and look at your product or look at your service, you need to get started on that, because all strategy online drives to that one point, right? And so, yeah, you have social media strategy, marketing. That is one strategy. You got email marketing, which is the highest ROI that you're going to get on your investment. So return on investment. Email marketing is by far the greatest strategy. The difficulty there is that you have to build your email list, right? There's, again, multiple ways to do that as well. You had lead generation, then you have organic. The purple, you have conversion optimization, analytics at the bottom, content marketing, and then the red on the left-hand side, that's the pay-per-click, which is social media paid advertisement or Google Ads or Bing, right? Anything that you're paying for it. And so these are the strategy of that most marketers typically go. There's a couple more out there, but a little bit more, newer and individuals are still testing it out. But these are the ones right now are tried and true, and they work. I get the question a lot of, great, now I know all of these strategy, where do I even begin? Where do I even start, right? And so my recommendation would be to choose a channel and work at it, right? Churn through it, be a little patient and test it out, and then test it out again. For you to really find out if a channel is working for you, I think it starts with one, maybe gut feel, right? You just think about yourself. If you're buying a certain type of product, where are you going to go? Are you going to go to a website? Are you going to go, and once you get the website, are you going to do research on that product, right? And so as you think through that, you start to kind of find out and narrow down exactly where you should be focusing your energy and your efforts. Okay, go to the next one.
Hey, Johnny, can I ask a question quick?
Sure.
I know that this is a presentation on digital marketing, but do you have any thoughts on some of the more old-fashioned ways of marketing, like cold calling or anything like that, or in-person meetings?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So when it comes to cold calling, I definitely still think it works, and there still is an avenue for that. For me, one thing I would challenge, the biggest thing to look into is there are software out there that's going to help a lot of companies personalize the message, right? So as it's funny, good point you brought up, because as I'm going through the slide and going to talk about the next slide, with cold calling, the difficulty is that you can call up and get a contact information, and then you follow up, right? And if the main thing is you want to be able to personalize those messages. And so implementing something like a marketing automation tool or a sales enablement software, you can simply just Google sales enablement software. It's going to be able to help not only you and your sales rep really personalize that message to that potential prospect, right? And then Chad, you said cold calling, and what else was the other one?
Oh, just the act of meeting people in person, whether it's a planned meeting or if like you're going to a networking event and you meet somebody there.
Yeah. And so, the biggest thing with just meeting someone in person and going to a networking event, and I think you all know this, and deep down you already doing this, is that it comes down to just genuinely being there to provide value and be of help, right? How can I help X, Y, and Z customer? And so if you're in the B2B world, when you're meeting somebody, you're genuinely networking to just get to know them first and then understand what the problem is, and then see if there's a fit. If not, move on to the next. Because I'm a big believer that there's only so much you can do to convince somebody. If they're not ready to buy, there's more out there for you to be able to, put your effort on and move on to the next person and then help convert there.
Yeah, and Chad, if I could add to that, the cold calling and meeting in person, those are great avenues. I think it's just more or less on time constraint. And you're limited to the amount of time that you have to meet somebody, meet individuals, meet other business owners, or call. And so you're limited in time in terms of what you can do and how much you can accomplish. So it's you definitely don't want to just say, I'm going to eliminate those two avenues altogether. But I think it's a combination of those, and then also digital presence as well. And we're all those avenues working in sync to get you into a flow of how you market, and then utilizing all the avenues that you have that's been working for you. So.
Sure, that makes sense. And I don't want to sidetrack, Johnny, your presentation too much. Maybe you're gonna get into this, but thinking about how many emails we all get every day, and most people, if they get an email from somebody they don't know, they don't recognize the name, they're probably not going to look at it. So if you can touch, whether now or at some point in the presentation, or maybe this is you, just how do you allow yourself to get through all the clutter in the inbox to make people see your message?
Yeah, good question. And that's actually right, as you're asking that question, that's exactly what this slide is going to be talking about. So if you take a look at the very top, so this is what we'll call a marketing funnel. And the whole premise of it is that we want to be able to attract as many people as we can. And as they move down the funnel, we want to be able to fine tune and find who our customer is, right? So Chad, you mentioned, how do you sift through the email and be that point of contact? And I want to start with, did that person want you on their email list? Were they expecting to receive email from you, right? If the answer is no, typically most of the time, and I know we all do this ourselves, we're going to ignore it. And so the number one thing I would recommend is build awareness of your brand online, whether that's providing something like an ebook, providing something tangible for the customer first, and then get an email in return so that they're at least expecting something from you, right? If I give you my email and you send me an email back, I'm more than likely to at least look at it and not just ignore it. But if it's a straight cold email from there, majority of the time, if it's not enticing enough, I want to say they're just going to ignore it. So I think that hope that answers the question. It really comes down to having some sort of tangible item to be able to give someone, whether that's going online digital and saying, hey, if let's say you're e-commerce, I'm giving you 10% off a discount and I get your email. Or if you're B2B, you're writing something like an ebook, or you're doing a white paper. A white paper is essentially just one PDF long document file talking about a specific process in the industry, or with data to back it up, right? So the premise of it is I'm giving something first before I can receive the email. And once I've done that step, the chances of that a potential client opening my email is going to be much higher than just doing a straight cold one. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. You know, as we go through this, if you talk a little bit, yeah, as we go through this, feel free to send message in the chat, and I'm more than happy to answer it because I want this to be personal and at least help you in your situation. So Murray sent a message that says, talk a little bit about effective use of LinkedIn and snail mail in tandem with digital. You know, that is awesome. So when it comes to LinkedIn, a lot of the times, a lot of individuals are using it for over connecting and over kind of email blasting everyone, right? With LinkedIn, everyone is coming there to connect, and everyone is coming there to learn from somebody. And so my recommendation is that if you're making LinkedIn your primary avenue of social media, establish yourself as an industry leader. So what does that mean? That means you're talking about industry topics. You're talking about topics that you know everyone in the industry needs to learn about, or it is changing, or it's adapting. And then the second thing is just before you ask for something, make sure you're giving something away first, right? So before you're asking for someone to sit in a meeting with you, make sure you're being valuable enough so that they even take the opportunity to set a meeting with you. Now, how do we tie that with snail mail in tandem with digital? And so the second part of the question, with snail mail, I think the biggest thing is that once you have connected with people on LinkedIn, then you can send out snail mail as far as brochures, or maybe even a personalized note card to that person, right? The hard part is that how do you get the address, whether that's like a business address, or if it's a smaller company, maybe it has to be the personal address there. But that's really the only way I would recommend tying in the LinkedIn aspect of it, how to be effective, and then how to include that with snail mail. Good questions. Yeah, and as I go through this, I don't want this to be all about. You can go back one more. I don't want this to be all about just the presentation, the slide, but feel free to ask any questions. So at the very top, we have awareness, and on the right-hand side, you're going to have all this certain strategy or tactics that people are bringing in, right? So this is the number one goal, is to bring in all the leads as much as you can, and then as you go down to interest evaluation, you're shifting through it. Through these leads and making sure they're becoming more qualified, right? Things such as you can start showing your reviews, your case studies, maybe show some videos of your company and how you've helped certain companies, asking them to commit to the newsletter, right? That's one way of generating email. And then as they continue to go down the funnel, then that's when you ask for the commitment and you ask for the sale. And I think this is the future of going to be for when it comes to sales, where marketing is in tandem with sales, and marketing is help bring in the leads, qualifying them, and all the salesperson or rep or individual has to do is really just hone in on the company vision, hone in on the benefits of the products or service, and make the sale. Yeah. Go to the last one, and then yeah, at this point, I think I have a couple of minutes left. You know, I'm open to any questions. You know, usually I like the individuals to just ask the question based on their certain situation, and maybe how I can help or give you some ideas of where to go, where to start.
Well, Johnny, one question. I feel like whenever I ask somebody in your field the question about social media, I'm expecting to get a different answer every time. I feel like, but you know, what do you feel like is the most effective social media? And I realize the answer can be different depending on what you do. You know, for our members at our restaurants, they tend to focus on things like Instagram pictures of the different dishes or the patio, or some of them are more dependent on Twitter. For B2B, it seems like LinkedIn is where a lot of people hang out. But can you just quickly talk about, maybe in your personal opinion, what works best for the average business and what kind of trends you're seeing?
Yeah, for sure. And you're right there too, Chad. A lot of it is dependent on your industry and what you're trying to do and accomplish, right? And so, you know, the latter part of the question, you said, what's the trend and where it's going? Right now, the biggest trend is video. And so regardless of what regardless of what platform you're on, people are have more tendency to just click on a video and watch it quick. Anywhere from 5 to 15 seconds is great. If your video is enticing enough, maybe you can push 30. So I would recommend a lot of small businesses right now start investing heavily into that, building video around your brand, your product, or even your service, and then just putting it out there in different platforms. Now, as far as deciding your platforms, again, it varies a lot. B2B, definitely go to LinkedIn. Even Twitter is great for B2B, just depending on your field. If you're selling a physical product, I will recommend you go to platforms that are heavy on photography and video, things like Instagram, Pinterest. Pinterest is very underused. I don't know, for those of you who may be selling furniture, who are, again, selling a physical product, Pinterest is heavily underused and heavily underutilized. And you can actually spend more money there than any of the other pay-per-click and get more value.
Great. Another place that has trends is our company websites. I remember years ago, people did a lot of Flash, and I think that trend overall went away because I think it was difficult to load for a lot of people, and it was very busy. And I'll speak for myself, and I think for a lot of people when they say, we all view our websites as important, but it also, on the list of priorities, you start thinking about, well, I got this meeting this afternoon I have to prepare for, so I'm not going to update the website or look at it right now. And it unfortunately goes to the back burner sometimes. Can you just talk a little bit about maybe some trends in websites, and then also how we can better prioritize working on the website, or why we should be?
Yeah, absolutely. And so this goes back to my one of the slides I had earlier, as far as showing you, it's like a circle diagram of all the strategy, right? Why it's important is because regardless of what strategy you're using, your social media or what you're trying to implement, if no one has a center place to come and find out what your product is about, or even purchase your product, then it's invaluable. So I 100% agree that everyone needs to prioritize the website. It doesn't need to be extremely fancy and all over and complex, but a couple of things to think about is you need to just make it, if you're in e-commerce, just selling a physical product, just make sure there's a checkout, right? Some customers can actually purchase there. The second thing is mobile responsive. So just so you know, over 50% of people that in the United States that are using the internet are on their phone. And so it's very important, and that trend is going to keep going up. And so it's very important to have your website be mobile responsive. And then lastly, the third one is just to be able to have, you just need to have your website as like a digital brochure, if you will, where they can find out where to contact you, who to contact, and then kind of go from there.
Right. Well, I don't see any other questions right now, so why don't we turn it over to Yi, and then maybe there can be more questions afterward for either one of you. So I'll introduce Yi. Yi Ku is an entrepreneur and president of MANYC Technology Solutions. He has been in the IT industry for 13 years. When he is not dreaming about business, he enjoys time with families, driving supercars on twisty roads, and time on the water, especially bass fishing. Currently, he is working on projects with many small to medium-sized business owners to navigate the digital age of marketing, technology, innovation, and IT security. He currently resides in Minnesota with his wife and 2 kids, an 8-year-old boy and an 11-year-old girl, and he can be reached at yi.ku, K-U-E, at MANYC technology.com. Please welcome Yi.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks, Chad, for giving us the time to share our knowledge with all the members so that everyone can excel and exceed in our business ventures. And today I'll be presenting a little bit about Tech 101, mainly security. Just because of the current situation that we're all in with the pandemic, I think that there's been a lot more scrutiny and a lot more chaos in the security realm. And just because everyone's working remotely as well, you're more prone to more security issues. And so I think I want to review that, kind of go over some basic areas that you should look into in your organization to make sure that that is covered and that is taken care of, so that you can work safely and soundly from the remote areas or wherever you're at. And so again, our current working environment right now, you've got staff and employees that are working from home. You've got folks that are working remotely, and you got Zoom meetings that you're utilizing. And I'm sure many of you have heard about, I'll talk a little about Zoom meetings. Many of you have heard that Zoom they've been targeted. They've had some security break-ins, some issues with that. And so you want to make sure that if you're on Zoom, you have, aside from Zoom security, you want to make sure that your whatever environment, whatever network that you're using is secure as well, so that you protect yourself. Working remotely, a lot of staff, sometimes they work from home, sometimes they're traveling, they're working in areas that may have Wi-Fi or different, they're not in one specific location. And sometimes you log on to Wi-Fis that are not secure, that are just open to the public. And so that creates a threat as well. Just because you don't know who else is on that same Wi-Fi as you, and they can pick up your signal, pick up information that you're sending out in that open Wi-Fi environment. And so that poses a threat as well. And then again, working from home, many of us at home, we use, I guess, home grade hardware, such as your Wi-Fi, your routers. All of those are home grade. And then not only that, some of us probably aren't even sure how to secure our network other than just putting on a password to your Wi-Fi. And sometimes our passwords are just 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And so I think that we need to, this is an issue that we need to address and look into, because I know that there are many small to medium-sized companies who don't have the resources to really figure out what is the best approach to securing their assets. And so that's the kind of the current working environment for all of us right now. So the first thing that we typically, that at least we would recommend for small to medium-sized business to do is to either, if you know how to do a network audit, or if you can hire someone to do a network audit for you, that's great. And basically what happens in network audit is that we assess your IT infrastructure. And essentially what that means is that we'll look into, what we need to identify is, if it's your business, are you still using home grade hardwares like Wi-Fi and routers to provide Wi-Fi access, internet access, network access to your staff? And if you are, those home grades, they don't have as many features to protect your company in terms of how can you view who's on your network? Can you identify if a threat is coming in? Can your network protect you from that? And I think commercial grades, they have these features in place that you can set up that can help you identify and protect your network and anyone that's logged onto your network from threats. The second thing would be scanning your network for threats. So right now, as your network as it stands, there might already be threats that hackers may have already hid certain viruses or malware, whatever, into your network and into your hardware, like your router and your Wi-Fi, your router, your other hardwares. And so we scan for it to make sure that there isn't any hidden antivirus, any virus, any malware anywhere in your network. And then the third thing is to review user network permissions, is to understand your staff, who your staff are, what kind of permissions do they have to your network, and should a particular staff have more permissions than they need to. And so we identify all that and make sure that we secure that as well, so that only those who need admin permissions or higher level permissions to access certain features and areas of your network, we make sure that that is correct. And so that's the first thing that we would recommend you do, whether you hire us or whether you hire someone else to do. I think this is the first thing you need to look into, is to secure your network. And then the next item is that we recommend is hardware audits. Obviously, everyone uses laptop and computers, so we want to make sure that you do you're able to, you have someone on your team that can scan your laptops and computers consistently, whether it be once a month or you know, quarterly, because I'm sure many of us, viruses and malwares, they get installed onto your computer all the time, and you get pop-ups, and you get, and so you have to consistently maintain that. And I don't know when was the last time many of you have, but I know of some organizations and folks that ever since they received their laptop from the organization, it's never been cleaned, scanned, or updated, and so that's a big threat. The second item here is VPN access to network. So your network, if you're not in the office, then you're out somewhere else, and you're connecting into your network. And if there isn't a VPN access, where it's a virtual private network where only you're secured and then you access into your network, somehow we have to look into that and set that up for you, so that you are securely connecting into your network and into your cloud drives or into your servers, so that you're not being intercepted along the way, and then they're accessing your network as well. And so that's one of the main issues is opening. If you don't have a VPN, you're open to threats. And then also installing antivirus, anti-malware that are commercial grade. There are those free ones, and then there are also those home grade ones that are not as robust and don't have as many features to fight against threats that could be installed or could be coming into your computer. And so we make sure that we install that for you. And then also, we install lockout and wipeout software measures onto these laptops and computers. And that's one thing you should do as well. Recently, I had a client who had an employee that was disgruntled and never returned the laptop. And they're a small organization, so there wasn't much they can do other than, yes, you can sue them, you can go after them, but that still takes time. And by then, who knows what they would have done with the information that's already on the laptop. And so with this measure, what it'll do is that if they don't, we'll install that, and you should install that. It'll lock them out, or it'll wipe out all the data in that computer or that laptop itself once you know that that laptop has been compromised. Obviously, there's a lot of laptops that are being stolen, lost, and so there's many ways that you could, lose these assets. And this is one of the way that you can measures that you can put in place to protect your organization as well. So hardware audits, and then our next.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Just a clarifying question. So, I use myself as an example. I have my work computer that's in the office, and then when I'm at home, I use my personal laptop, but I remote in to my work computer, and I'm sure a lot of other people are doing the same thing. Yeah. So when you talk about these hardware audits, should it be their personal computer that they're using, the computer that's at the office that they are remoting into, or both?
It should be both, because if you're using your personal computer at home to access your computer at work, obviously your computer at work is probably protected, but your computer at home is not. So you should do an audit on that, just because you could compromise and open the portals for anyone to access your personal computer to get access to your computer at work.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is we recommend monthly maintenance. I know many of you small business owners or medium-sized business, you don't have you don't have a team IT team to support you in this. And so there are companies like us who can be signed up for on a retention rate to help you with monthly maintenance, where we do monthly network scans, and then we report what we find, and then if there's any issues, we fix it for you. Network updates and patches. Your network needs to be updated. It's all software based, all software driven. So these software needs to be updated and patches needs to be installed so that you can, your system and your network can be up to date. So if there are new viruses, malwares that are out there that are being created daily, you're staying up to date with this and you're protecting your company. Again, computer updates, patches, and fixes. When was the last time that you actually had a computer, you actually updated all the security measures on your laptop, your computer, updated the patches and fixed any issues or any bugs or any virus or malware that was found on your laptop. And so this is a third item that you should also put in place for your organization as well. And the last on our list is training. I think that our first line of defense is your staff. The more knowledgeable they are, the more they're trained in terms of threats, then they can help prevent this. Because I think that that's the first line of defense, and that's where the majority of the threats are going to come through from, is the staff, the users itself. So the more knowledgeable they are, the more they can help prevent threats. So staff security training, and then also you need to have security simulation tests where you can send fake phishing emails or fake tests, and you can test the knowledge of your staffing so that they are very aware, and in doing so you'll know where the organization is at in terms of their knowledge and how everyone can help protect the organization from outside threats. And so those are the 4 things that you should probably look into in your organization. And if you don't know of anyone that can help you sift through all this and put a plan together for you, let us know. Otherwise, if you know someone else that can do this for you, great. These are the 4 things that you should hit and should take a look into, so that this new day and age, I think it's going to be a new norm for many of us, where we're going to be working remotely half the time, if not more. And so these are threats that are out there, and for you to really protect yourself and your organization. And so with that, I'm going to open it up to questions and answer and Q&As for the members.
Well,
This is Murray Deeth. A little while back, I owned a repair facility for computers and the like. Our best customers were the ones that clicked on every link. So please don't tell anybody, especially older people, that click on anything. They think it's from Uncle Fred, but they click on it, and every $100 or so every month. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Murray, I totally agree with you, because people are creatures of habit, and we're curious, and we're going to click on things. But if you, through training and through education, it will help them realize and think twice about, oh, should I be clicking this? And it'll remind them. And that's where threats come from, is phishing emails and links that you click, that your staff will click. And so, yes, that's a great point.
You bet. I sold the business, so go ahead, tell everybody you want now.
Well, and I'm reminded, Tony Mendoza's on the call, and Mendoza Law Office had put together, we did a cybersecurity series a few years ago. And I remember when we had on there one time what we called a hacker for good, somebody who was a person that their company could be working with your organization on testing to see how secure people were. And I know that one of the things they mentioned was they had done a phishing test, and they did a Black Friday sale. And then they could report back to the company on, this is how many people that work for your company clicked on the link. And if this was a real scam, you'd be in trouble if it was an actual virus.
Mhm.
But you bring up a really good point that, companies, if they had everybody working in the office 100%, that meant that they had, if you were going to get into that network, you had to go through that one secure system that was not just a residential, that was, office grade, that was a little bit higher security, most likely.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, the companies throughout the country are, it's however many employees they have. They've got 50 different networks or 100 different networks or whatever it is. For most of our members, it's 10 or less, but it's a lot less secure. Has there been any trends that have already been out there, do you know, that have been said that companies have been hacked into? I mean, I'm just waiting for, these big companies with a national presence that have thousands of employees for just the random person, and, pick a city that gets hit, and it could be major trouble for some big company.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right with that. The trend right now is nonprofits and government organizations because they don't have the knowledge or the budget to hire help to really secure their environments. And so a lot of hackers are targeting that right now because they know that with the pandemic, government workers and also nonprofits are more likely to allow employees to work remotely as well, because they're more lenient with that as well, because they're not a for-profit company. So the threat is real and the threat is there. And they're targeting those those types of organizations more often than not now. And I know of some that have been ransomed, and they would have to pay in the hundreds of thousands to get their information back. And so, yes. So if you're a nonprofit, or if you're a government organization, or if you're a small organization, small business, medium-sized business where you don't have the funding for that, definitely I would say that you are one of the main targets, just because they know that you're prone to not be able to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's a really scary thought.
Mm-hmm.
And even though before people were working in the office and you really would have to hit that network, there was still a big threat because everybody has their phone and has email on their phone, and nobody was in the office the whole time then either. So
yeah,
if I'm at a Groundswell coffee shop waiting to meet with somebody and I'm checking my work email, you're at a threat then too. Is there anything you want to just recommend for people who are, they're still going to be using their phone when they meet with people at coffee shops, or work from home is really work from anywhere, so they could be working, on those other non-secure networks in the public?
Yeah. I think a couple things that you can do is, I think there are incognito modes on some of the browsers that you're using. So that might help a little bit. For Chrome, it's incognito mode. And then for some of the other browsers, they probably have something similar to that, so that it's not saving any of your information, or it hides you from from the public to an extent. So that would help a little bit. The key is not to use those free Wi-Fis. At least try to use a Wi-Fi that has some type of password, that wherever you're at, the location that you're at has a password that you can use. That helps a little bit. But another area was, again, installing VPN access, so that you are using the network there, the Wi-Fi network there, to access internet, but to get into your files and your network, it has a VPN and it's encrypted, and any threats that are around aren't able to access that, because they don't have the password or the code to your VPN to get into your system. So there's a number of ways that you can do to combat that. But again, it's I think it's not going to be 100%, but having something is still better than nothing. So those are some of the things that I think a lot of the organizations and a lot of the members here should think about as well.
Sure. Well,
I got actually, Chad, so don't mean to cut you off, but Tony Mendoza added a comment in the chat, right? Were you about to go there?
yeah, that's actually what I was going to segue into was if anybody has any other tech questions. If not, we would segue back over to your part, Johnny. So yeah, question from Tony Mendoza about Johnny. You had mentioned that a big trend is video, and where would you suggest a small business start in terms of a video marketing strategy, and how are small businesses producing video content? Is that something they do in-house, or do they have outsider help?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I get that question quite often, and for me, just to be quite frank and honest too, a lot of small businesses are doing fairly well by being authentic and genuine with the videos. So it doesn't include a high-tech agency or media company to come in and produce a video for you, right? You can simply, everyone has a phone. You can simply, depending on which social media is performing well for you or you get the most engagement, just do, let's say one day specifically, you have a topic in the industry or about your business. Take out your phone, do a selfie, and just do anywhere from 10 to 15-second video talking about that. And the biggest giveaway is you want to make sure you're giving something tangible, or at least an idea for the customers can get away with, right? If you are, Tony, I think I heard you were in a law firm. Maybe you can start a series about FAQ, right? Let's say customers are always contacting you asking about X, Y, and Z. You can start a video marketing strategy. Just going every week, you post a video about one question and how a lawyer would handle it and how a lawyer will recommend you to handle it, right? You do that every single week, and just make sure that in your videos, you have a call to action button, whether that's, hey, visit my site for more information, where that video leads them to a blog talking about that topic, or that video leads them to a contact form, right? And then experiment with that. But my biggest take, and then the tail end of it, would you do it in-house or would you do outside help? That's really more of a personal question. You just have to ask yourself, is it worth my time as a business owner to market my company, or should I focus in my better operations person, right? If my time is well off in the operations side, maybe I should hire an agency help, where agency can help you with a calendar. Hey, here's a strategy. Here's what we're going to do every single week or every single month. And so, yeah, it's more of a personal feel. I always lean on the side of focus on your strength and allow and contract others to help you with their strength.
It really seems like doing video lends itself to just making it more of a personal touch and people getting to know who you are as a person. I mean, I think one of our members is Spire Credit Union, and Dan Stoltz is on a lot of commercials, and people feel like they kind of know who he is because he's on commercials. And I think about I can think about Urban Growler is one of our members, and they'll post videos on occasion on Facebook or other places. And so it just helps add to that, not only the brand, but just the personality where you go behind the product. It is a really helpful tool. I agree.
Yeah, people are now looking for the personality, the person behind the actual product, they're not coming for you for that product or service, because it is great, but they're really looking at who that person is. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. Any other last questions or comments? All right. Well, seeing none, we're right about the end of our time. So that's going to wrap it up for us. We have a business after hours today at 4 o'clock at Burning Brothers. Hope people can make it to that. We've got Mayor Carter next Thursday, October 8th. He's going to be speaking with our group. So they're both on our website. If you're interested in participating, please sign up. And this recording will be available later on. So I'm going to hit the stop recording. Thank you so much.